Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. This will be an interesting flight experience that I had, flying in convergent lift. And I want to let you know we fly at texassoaring.org, so be sure and look us up for more information about our glider club. This is the ASK-21. It's a two-seater trainer and our club has 3 of these for flying. It's actually a very good high-performance trainer. It has about a 56-foot wingspan, a maximum gross weight of about 1,300 pounds. The great thing, it's a very docile flying aircraft. Has about a 34-to-1 glide ratio. Airspeeds are between, say, about 40 miles an hour to a never exceed speed of 174. And the amazing thing about being in the club, it only costs $25 an hour to fly. Just an amazing deal. Alright, let's take a look at this next image. I flew in what's called convergent lift. And in this example, I'm showing the cooler air on the left-hand side and the warmer air on the right. When these two air masses meet together, it can cause lift, and you can also see many times is a line of cumulus clouds. And that's what happened in this flight. And it was an amazing experience. I'd like to share that with you. This next image, I provide you real live flying information as shown on the screen. I use a built-in GPS data logger and combine it with this video to make these effects. Starting on the bottom left-hand side, that's indicating ground speed, not airspeed. GPS can only calculate ground speed. At the top left-hand corner, we have the flight time. The center will be the compass heading. On the top right, that's your rate of climb indicator if you're an optimist. If you're a pessimist, I guess it would be called your rate of sink indicator. Anyway, that's measured in feet per minute. On the bottom right-hand side, that is the altimeter. So let's get ready to take off. Ready for takeoff? Let's watch the action. At this point, I'm off the ground. I'm going to keep it right on the deck, maybe 5 feet above the runway until the tow plane can accelerate and take off. At this point, we're simply going to follow the tow plane. We're going to stay very focused on what we're doing here. We can't have any distractions. In any event, it's all part of your training, and there will be some things that you'll learn. Okay, we climbed out at this point. I've cleared the area. I'm letting the tow plane know that we've released, and let's start to work the thermals. When I started out this flight, I didn't really think about any convergent lift. I mean, it's something I've read about, heard about, but I've never really experienced it. As the day progressed, we did have some overdevelopment. We had some rain showers in the area, and that's when I started to notice something. I saw a line of cumulus clouds. I saw a rain shower on one side and a nice area on the other. And you could literally see here in this next image what I'm talking about. And here it is. At this time, I'm at 5,000 feet and a few miles away from it. But you can see that line of cumulus clouds forming. On the left-hand side was a garden variety rain shower, no lightning or thunder. And I thought to myself, this might be what I've read about. At this point, I had sufficient altitude to start heading toward that line of cumulus clouds. You can see the sand pit over to the left. A lot of TS members will know where I'm at. Anyway, I headed that way. It was a few miles away. As I proceeded closer, some very interesting things started to happen. One of the first things that I noticed as I proceeded closer to the line of cumulus clouds is I got into zero sync. So what I did was I just slowed down to our minimum sync speed, that's our thermaling speed, and proceeded in the same direction. The technique is we slow down in lift, speed up in sync, and speed up even faster in heavy sync. So at this point I'm doing about 40 miles an hour. That's our best airspeed to fly in lift in an ASK-21. and I'm not losing any altitude. I'm not gaining any either, but it's amazing. I've never turned around one way or the other, and I'm already experiencing lift even this far out. Now as I get closer to the convergent line, the lift is starting to increase. Right now I'm experiencing an easy 500 feet per minute rate of climb, and it actually gets to over 1,000 feet per minute when I get a little bit closer. And again, this whole time I have not turned. I'm still heading in the same basic direction, right for that line of cumulus clouds that I can see. This type of situation where we have this convergent line doesn't happen every day. Well, especially in Dallas it doesn't, from what I've been told from other pilots. But it was just an amazing experience to really see what this can do. As I proceed closer, the lift is beginning to even increase at a higher rate. One thing I noticed, obviously I had a layer of clouds, the cumulus clouds there, and then on the left hand side I was a little bit higher than this other deck of clouds. Really an interesting view, to say the least. Now for the next minute or so, let's just watch the flight. At this point I decided to go ahead and make a left-hand turn and head out of this convergent lift, because obviously I've got a cloud deck above me and I do have some clouds below me too. It's kind of interesting. So I headed back out of the lift, but what was interesting is I put the nose down, started picking up speed, and I was still climbing to some degree. Really one heck of a ride, I'll tell you that. I started feeling like the effect was getting squeezed in. But anyway, put the nose down and moved away from the lift. But even when I did that, I still got in a same situation where I was flying back to TSA, probably around 70 miles an hour and zero sync. And here it is, this long line. I'm on the edge of it now, the convergent lift, and I'm not going down anymore. Pretty amazing, isn't it? So I'm headed back to TSA and still staying at basically the same altitude, but look at my ground speed. I'm not really going down that much at all. But one of the concerns I had was obviously there could be a wind shift when this gets over TSA. The winds were out of the south, but I ended up landing to the north. And that's just something you got to be aware of in these kind of conditions. The rain never got to us, and I was concerned that was going to happen too, but it didn't. When I finally received confirmation of the 180-degree wind shift, I decided to not get in a hurry to land. Give it a few minutes, because that first indication of wind shift is going to have a lot more turbulence in it. If you give it a few minutes, it'll be a lot less, hopefully. And that's really the way it turned out. Alright, let's just watch the next minute of the video, and you'll see as I'm proceeding to TSA, I'm really not losing any more altitude. Again, still I'm in the effects of that convergent lift to some degree anyway. Now that I'm heading back to TSA, I've got all this altitude right now. I've got 6,000 feet that I'm going to have to burn off because I was concerned about the rain shower. I already had notice of the wind shifts, so I was taking my time, but at a point I decided, well, I'm going to use the spoilers, increase that sink rate, and get on back on the ground before the rain hit. And the rain never showed up anyway, so oh well. At this point I do have some spoilers out. I'm going to pull it out even more, about 50 to 75%, to increase that sink rate without increasing speed. I've got all this wonderful height energy that I'm going to have to waste away, but well, that's just the way it turned out. Okay, I've worked my way down about 2,000 feet above the ground. I've looked at that windsock. I've listened on the radio. They indicated the 180 degree wind shift, and it's crosswind a little bit, but that's not a problem. At this point I've worked my way down to pattern altitude. I'm doing a right hand pattern for runway 36 at TSA. At this point I'm turning base to final. I do pick up some turbulence. And one of the things I'm going to do to offset the crosswind is to use what's called a crab angle. And you'll see that right now in the approach. I'm not doing a forward slip. I'm just going to let it grab into the wind to offset the drift until I get lower. Keep my speed up. Since we have this turbulence and change in the wind direction, I'm going to keep my speed up as we proceed lower. And you'll notice I'll be really moving that stick around here close to the ground. Look at that. I'm flying in ground effect now, and I'm just going to work my way down the runway to get me down to a point where I'm closer to the hangar.
Woo! That was a hell of a ride.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and be sure and look up our club at texassoaring.org for more information. And don't forget, look up my other YouTube videos on flying gliders, ultralights, drones, anything you can think of. So you guys have a great day, and we'll see you in the air next time. Bye-bye.